Hi everyone, I'm Hoodie Angel Brandon, and welcome to another Fire Emblem Heroes unit build showcase. Today, at long last, we are building Robin, who has been a planned project for over a year. However, we were unable to build him as I searched and searched for the perfect Robin. But now the time has come to finally complete the male avatar collection and finish building this, my original avatar character, and the one that was with me when I started my Fire Emblem adventure. So since Awakening was my first game in the series, Robin was the first avatar that I encountered, and I actually really like him, even though I've been very grumbly at him the past year or so since he didn't want to show up. And I really loved Robin. I thought he was super cool. He was so strong and smart, and I was just like, man, I love Robin. I want to be like Robin. But then the more I played Fire Emblem, the more I realized, yeah, I am not a master tactician by any means. And I started to relate more to like Corrin and Byleth, who aren't presented as being this know-it-all genius who has like a plan for every scenario, like setting all of your ships on fire to take out the enemy, which is still just one of the wildest moments in Awakening to me. I really love that moment. In Faye especially, sometimes I don't feel super smart. Like I'm not a theory crafter or anything. Certainly not a tactician on Robin's level. I'm just kind of doing my best, and that's all anyone can ask. But with that said, I do feel like I've definitely improved, and I've gotten closer to the impossible dream of measuring up to Robin. I mean, I have beaten every single Abyssal map using just my favorites, so that's something, right? Anyway, while Robin's not my favorite avatar anymore, he still does have a very special place in my heart, and I still really love him, and I'm very excited to build him. So, let's get going. As you can see, we have collected many Robins on our journey. This is the plus speed Robin that we will be using as the base for our build, but we also have this 4-star plus 10 Robin that I used as a budget counter for a long time, and we have 19 4-star combat manuals and 3 3-star combat manuals. However, there is one last Robin that we must add to our collection. To bring Robin to his maximum potential, we must obtain his Resplendent version. Behold! Robin is reborn as a resplendent hero. He rises from the grave and will now join the Angel Army as one of our ace tacticians. So, we have obtained Resplendent Robin, which is admittedly mostly for the stat boosts. The art is okay, but was never really my favorite. It looks alright, but I'm not wild about the collar here. He looks very stiff. And they made him a hell-themed Resplendent, which kind of fits what I kind of dislike about Robin, which is that it feels like Robin the character has kind of sort of vanished in Faye and has become much more focused on the fact that they're a vessel for Grima, and erases a lot of what made Robin Robin, which is unfortunate. And his Resplendent doesn't even say his iconic line anymore, so but for now we will use it and turn the power of hell upon our enemies. To begin, we will promote our Robins for merging. This old Robin will become part of the new one, and since he is a 4-star plus 10, we actually get a small refund on our feathers when promoting him. And 8 additional manuals that Robin will read to obtain their power. So, Robin will begin studying these manuals, starting with the one that was 4-star plus 10. Our original Robin. Next up, the Resplendent Robin. Absorb his power. And now the rest. So, of course, I'm building Robin because I love my avatar characters and I wanted to complete the collection and especially get the avatar that I started Fire Emblem with. However, I wanted to address the idea that I hate the female avatars, which isn't true. I don't actually hate them, I just do have a preference for the male ones since those are the ones I play. But honestly, if it weren't for my bias for male Robin, just because that's the one that I started with and everything, I actually think female Robin has a color that I would prefer to use, honestly. Her being green would have been preferable, in my opinion. But now he is +9, and at last, the journey is done. He has reached the pinnacle and become +10. There we go. His stats actually don't look terrible for a Gen 1 unit, of course, though we are buffing him up with that Resplendent boost and 10 merges. And he is Earth Blessed because that's what I had his, the original Robin that I used blessed as. However, we are going to change that. As he represents hell, it is only fitting to grant him the Dark Blessing. There we go. Just for thematic reasons. And even though he is being buffed by the Resplendent boost and his merges, we must push his power even further by giving him all the dragon flowers he can handle. Being a Gen 1 unit, his stats are underwhelming. However, he does have pretty decent stats all around, kind of similar to Corrin. So to take advantage of that, giving him stats all over the board by bumping him up with dragon flowers is going to help him a lot. He appreciates that all-around boost. There we go. It's like we gave him a permanent Fury 4. For his accessory, the original plan was to grant him the Mage Cap. However, it doesn't quite match his Resplendent outfit as well as it did his original, but his Resplendent outfit actually looks pretty cool with a number of these accessories. We can use the Wings of Darkness, the Bat Ears, the Divine Tiara, also looks very cool. The Dagger Rooker Remnant leans full into the edginess of his Resplendent ult. However, I think I like either the Plegian Crown, which kind of fits with the crown that he's already wearing, or the Pointy Magic Hat, which also kind of works. But between them, I think I'm slightly leaning towards the crown. I think it fits just slightly better, but I'm actually surprised how well his Resplendent works with a number of these accessories. We'll go with this one. I don't have anyone particularly fitting for Robin to S support. However, his only current options among +10s are Sakura or Garen, and I think that he fits just ever so slightly better with Sakura. However, this isn't particularly important. I just like to have my various characters supported for those small boosts. Alright, now we must prepare the various skills for Robin, starting with his tomes. After all, any good tactician must have a variety of weapons in his arsenal and a variety of books to study from. We're starting with Lute and her Flora Guide. And as I recall, this is around when I first mentioned that I was interested in building Robin, and actually seriously working towards it. So we are going to grab the Flora Guide for him, and he needs a lot of tomes because his default tome is kind of niche. Next, we are going to grant him the Packed Blooms from Valentine's Veronica. And I guess we can grab Growing Thunder at the same time. Probably won't use it, but we'll just grab it while we're here. Next is Blar Owl. Not as strong as it used to be, but I know it used to be a very popular choice for Robin. And it's just a kind of fun one. It fits his theme of bonds and encourages stacking allies, so it could definitely have use on certain maps, especially ones where our various units are kind of forced into a cramped space. And it can give him some pretty nice stat boosts across the board for some Omni stat buffing. Kind of similar to Spooky Sensor with a Fury stacking build, which is something I considered for him, but I don't know, I'm just not totally in love with the idea of running triple Fury on Robin. Although it could be interesting, I'm not sure if I want to try it right now. And lastly, we are going to give him the Spider Plush. And you know, it's on brand that Robin made me collect a bunch of books and tomes for him. I guess he didn't really want to show up until he was satisfied with the selection of tomes that we had prepared for him. And I guess this Spider Plush was the last one he needed to have before he wanted to show up. So we'll grab that. And we'll take attack res form 1 and 2 just in case in the future we can get the third one for cheap. Next, we are going to give him Blue Flame. Since he does have some tomes that really encourage him to stick next to allies, I think this would be kind of a cool option, especially since his attack is on the low side and this gives him some consistent damage boosts. Bonfire can be stronger in certain situations, but this will be a nice consistent special for him, I think. And at the same time, we'll go ahead and grab Attack Def Bond because he can't take Wrath. And since he's wearing the Robes of Hell, I feel like it's only fair that we go ahead and grab Miracle. Just for thematic reasons. Probably won't use it though, honestly. And of course, everyone knows I love Aether. Gonna grab that, one of my favorite specials still. And it's also always nice to have Moonbow as an option. And we'll grab Red Tome Breaker. Gonna be grabbing a lot of breaker skills for flexibility. Very important for him, I feel. Gonna grab Sword Breaker next. Just gonna grab all these breaker skills because they work with his default tome to make him kind of a specialized counter, which I think will be helpful, making him able to kind of swap in certain skills based off what we need, giving him that flexibility because he's not he doesn't really excel at anything, so wanna make sure that if he's gonna be kind of all over the place, he's at least pretty flexible. Lance Breaker, Blue Tome Breaker, Bow Breaker, Dagger Breaker. With that, he is now able to tip those scales. He now has some solid options for a variety of situations. So he already has Swap, Shove, and Drawback from when I used him earlier, but now we're going to go ahead and grab him Reposition, and we'll take Wings of Mercy as well. Just always nice to have as an option. Gonna go ahead and take Speed Res Form as a situational ace slot that could work well with wanting to stack allies nearby, but not his first choice for an ace slot. Attack Res Bond from Winter Cecilia, and Attack Res Unity and Null Sea Disrupt from Winter Altina. There we go. Gonna go ahead and grab Harsh Command. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab a kind of niche skill. I wanted to give him Infantry Hex Blade for fun. We won't need all of these skills, but we're going to fill out Robin's library, as it were. I mean, it took this long to get him, so we're giving him a ton of options. We will find a useful build for him, because I'm really not convinced that he'll be a particularly stellar unit. So we're just gonna throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what sticks. Anyway, naturally I love Attack Smoke, so we're gonna give him that as well. And Speed Smoke as well. We don't need these as much now that we have Kaze to apply strategic debuffs, but we might not always be using Kaze, so it doesn't hurt to have. However, it never hurts to have drives on hand, so we're going to grab those. drive attack, speed, res, and def. And we have Gatekeeper. And with him we can grab Harsh Command, Close Counter, Close Reversal, and Joint Drive Defense for a lot of nice fodder that has some situational uses. Harsh Command can work alongside his Tome to kind of reverse those buffs if they get panicked. So that makes it kind of like Rally Spectrum, which is what his Tome should have done to begin with. I'm still bitter about that. Probably just saving that for his legendary version though, I guess. And finally, we are going to get Percival for lull attack speed. And I guess we'll grab Luna while we're at it. Which seems a little weird. You might think that he wants the lull res so that he can hit harder, especially since his base attack isn't super high. But I was thinking, since he has pretty solid mixed bulk, reducing enemy attack would be more helpful. And we are stacking speed to improve his ability to double and prevent enemies from doubling him, which also goes towards improving his bulk. So I think attack speed is just a slightly better option for him, but he could definitely run lull speed res or lull attack res as well. So with that, we now have a wide selection of skills to pick from. Lots of options here. Not all of these, again, will be mainstays on his build, but it makes it very easy to just swap in things as needed here and there. So now Robin's just going to start studying up and refresh his knowledge, and then we will be ready to move on to the actual builds. We're going to start by grabbing these tomes so that we can refine them. So we are going to start refining some of these. Actually, Blar Owl is not something I'm going to use right away, so I'm not going to refine that one. But Flora Guide we're going to refine for speed. And we can refine these other ones later if necessary, but Packed Blooms we're also going to take speed. Spider Plush could go for speed, but for that build we're actually going to want a def refined Spider Plush. And Tactical Bolt, we are going to get the unique refine, though the speed refine is also kind of tempting. Just for now we'll take that one. And now we'll just start learning the rest of these skills. So we'll return when Robin is all studied up. Alright, Robin has finished poring over his various tomes and learned all of his skills, so now we are ready to prep his builds. We have 4 here because, as I mentioned, not really sure what I'm going to end up liking on him, so we're going to try a bunch of different things and see what we end up finding the most effective. The first build is his default Generalist build. It will be his Grandmaster Tactician build. If IS won't give us Grandmaster Robin, I'll make it myself. So, for this, we are going to start with Speed Refined Flora Guide to give him a nice speed boost. Gives him +2 from the refine and also provides +5 additional speed by debuffing the enemy, giving him an effective speed of 49, pretty solid. Also lets him hit a little harder. And since it debuffs the enemy, it also allows him to play a support role, kind of similar to Morgan and Sedith, helping his allies double and avoid doubles easier. But unlike them, since his tome doesn't require him to be near allies, he can also kind of be off on his own away from allies if necessary, in which case he might prefer something like a solo skill or something in the A slot. And also, unlike them, he doesn't have that bow weakness, so he might be better if there are a lot of archers on the map. Though since he's not a flyer, he also might struggle on cramped maps with lots of forests or other difficult terrain. So he definitely does have some niches. So even though he can take up a support role like Morgan and Sedith, he doesn't directly overlap with either of them. For the assist, we're going to take drawback, but of course, as always, that's very flexible. For his assist, it kind of depends. If he's off on his own, he'd probably prefer something like Aether to keep him topped off, or Moonbow if he just wants to get a lot of damage out there fast. But for sticking close to his allies, I think he'd like Blue Flame. Just gives him nice and consistent damage. It's pretty simple to hit 25 extra damage if he's just sticking next to allies, which is how I tend to prefer to play units, but definitely has other options if he does need to take up more of a solo role. Similarly, while I want to run Attack Res Unity in his A slot as the base skill, he definitely could take something like Close Reversal, or we could get him a solo skill that he could use when he's off on his own. We're going to give him Attack Res Unity so he can ignore some debuffs, and it also gives him a little bit of extra attack, which is helpful since his attack is on the low side, and it also gives him extra res, so it pads out his def and res. And for the B slot, we're going to give him Lull Attack Speed. Lull Attack Res or Lull Speed Res might be a little better if he wants to hit harder, but I wanted to lean into his survivability, so speed makes him a lot more difficult to double, especially with Flora Guide also taking effect. That puts him at over 50 effective speed, and the enemy can't use speed buffs to break through him, and the lull attack means that their attack buffs also won't go through, and it also just gives him a little extra defensive cushion. He hits over 40 def and res if all his skills are online, so it makes him a pretty fast mixed tank. And then finally in the C, similar, always very flexible. If he's sticking next to allies, he can definitely take advantage of drive skills to support the team. If he's off on his own, he might prefer something like attack or speed smoke. And the Infantry Hex Blade is gimmicky, but could be an interesting choice for infantry heavy teams. For the default skill, I'm going to go with Attack Smoke just to give him a little bit of extra bulk, but definitely any of these could be useful depending on the map, and also the team comp. Finally, for his Sacred Seal, I think he just kind of wants more stats to further improve his survivability, though if he's running Blue Flame, he might like something like Mystic Boost so that he's still getting some sustain, and still getting access to that fairly quick burst damage. But some other things we can definitely take are a Bond or Form skill, which definitely has synergy with his Unity skill, or we can take something like a Brazen if he's already injured. If he's running a more solo-centric set, then of course a solo skill works. We're just going to take a very simple attack speed bond to just boost his speed even higher and make him hit a little bit harder. So a very generalist set, but I kind of like how it looks. So that's set 1. For set 2, we are going with a full defensive build, which will definitely help differentiate him from Morgan, who is pretty squishy defensively. For this, we're going to take our Def Refined Spider Plush, which inflicts a -5 attack on the foe, so it still is helping his res out, but we're going to lean more into the defense. But with that, he might even be able to tank a magical hit here and there, and it also lets him hit a little bit harder, and it also gives him guard, which is very nice for kind of a defensive duelist type build. For this one, we're going to take Reposition since he's going to want to be tanking hits. We can actually take Bonfire. I think he actually will hit enough defense that Bonfire outweighs Blue Flame. Or of course we can take Aether since he's going to be taking a lot of hits. Miracle would be a very funny gimmick choice as well. I'm not going to take that, but it would be very funny and very fitting for his undead version here. In fact, I labeled this particular build as Hell's Fell Tactician Undying. So definitely could run a sort of difficult to kill set. That would be good with like Mystic Boost or something in the seal. But at base, we're going to take Aether just for that extra sustain. And here we're going to take Close Reversal. which gives him +5 defense, and he can counterattack. Very solid for face tanking melee units. And unlike Close Foil, he does lose the attack boost, which would have been nice since his attack is on the low side, but it doesn't leave him completely vulnerable to dragons, which I like. It was kind of a toss-up between which one I wanted to take, but since I was getting other stuff from Gatekeeper, I decided to go with this and just save Close Foil for someone else. But definitely could take Close Foil and might even be the slightly better option. This just had other fodder I wanted, so I went ahead and took it. Similarly to his Grandmaster build, we're going to take lull attack speed in the B slot, just so that the enemy doesn't break through our defenses as easily with buffs. And I like that with Spider Plush granting the guard effect and this negating buffs, it just makes him a good deal more tanky. We're going to take Joint Drive Def, though we definitely could take Attack Smoke as well to just improve his bulk. And finally in the C, we could take something that boosts res if we wanted to even that up more, but since I wanted to go in more on the physical defense, I was thinking something like Steady Posture would be good to also improve his speed a little bit. He could just take Sturdy Stance to hit harder. He could just take straight up Steady Stance. Or he could take like a Bond skill if he's going to be sticking close to allies. Or even a Form skill. All pretty good options. Like I said, we could also take like Mystic Boost and Miracle. That could be a kind of funny gimmick combo. But I think this will just be a fairly consistent, speedy, bulky build. There we go. Alright, number 3 is his most gimmicky build. It's the Magical Tudor. And for this one, we are going to be running the Packed Blooms, lowering the enemy's stats, though this one lowers enemy attack and res by 5, and it gives him some sustain. I wish this included a speed debuff, or even was just like attack speed, in which case I'd probably prefer it over Flora Guide with its speed res -5. But these two tomes are pretty interchangeable, but we're going to use the Packed Blooms for this one, though he will miss that little bit of extra speed swing that he got from Flora Guide. For the assist, we're just going to go ahead and grab Drawback. This one is more of a support-oriented set, so he's not going to be frontlining, so that's a little preferable over Reposition. Since this is a more support-oriented build and he's not going to be in combat a ton, I don't think he'll have as much time to charge Aether, so we're going to take Blue Flame. This will still let him hit consistently when he does actually trigger it. In the A slot, we're going to take Attack Res Unity, and we're going to take his lull once again, just so that he's not completely helpless. Similar idea to the first build, makes him hard to take out with both buffs and debuffs. And then finally, for the actual gimmick, we're going to take Infantry Hex Blade. So this is for a infantry team, and this will let him give a slight boost to his allies and let them use magical damage, hence the Magical Tudor. He's teaching the likes of Byleth, Corrin, Soleil, and so on the magical arts, which is just kind of funny. And to go alongside that, I thought it'd be funny to take Infantry Rush, so that at the same time he's also charging their specials faster, so that everyone else hits a little harder and they can target enemies' res, which tends to be on the lower side a lot of the time. So this lets them break through physical walls, which normally you might think, oh, well, that's kind of redundant because Robin's there to do that. There might be like a green unit that Robin struggles to get over, but then Byleth suddenly doing magical damage can ignore their defense and hit them. Like I said, this is definitely a gimmick build. This one's just for fun. I don't anticipate this one being very good at all, but it is a funny idea. If we ever get Infantry Flash as a seal, that with Flora Guide would probably be better. But again, it's I don't anticipate this being a particularly outstanding build, just kind of a for fun one. Just very thematic with Robin teaching the magical arts. Finally, set 4, we have the Scale Tipper, where Robin is just going to specifically gear himself to taking out whatever threats the team needs. And he is a fairly flexible unit. For this one, we're going to take his Tactical Bolt, or as I like to call it, the Tactical Dolt, because while this tome is kind of dumb, it is basically a Pref Raven tome granting that advantage to colorless foes, letting him gear himself to take out colorless threats that may be a nuisance to the team. But the refined effect isn't really anything to write home about. Attack speed, def res +4 to allies within 2 spaces, but on a tactic restriction. So I was really disappointed with this tome because it's a +4 spectrum buff, unlike a full +6 like you would get with tactics. I would almost prefer like a double tactic tome and then run the other tactics in his C and S. Like, I get why they went with a tactic tome because it's on theme for him being a tactician, but it's just kind of underwhelming, I think, and it's restrictive on your team comps. I really wish they'd actually given him something like a tome that, like, if he uses like rally attack speed, his tome gives like def and res or something so that he could have full rally spectrum. I think that would have been way cooler way to have Robin provide buffs, though. I would imagine they're probably saving like rally spectrum for his inevitable legendary alt. For his assist skill, we're going to take Harsh Command. One issue I have with Tactical Bolt is that if the team gets panicked, there's no way to turn off this buff like there is with a rally outside of just being outside of Robin's range, which might not always be possible. But with Harsh Command, we can go ahead and reverse that and go ahead and get those buffs back. So I like that as a fail-safe in case something goes wrong with our Tactical Bolt. We're going to take Blue Flame again for that consistency, especially since for some reason they decided Tactical Bolt doesn't need to give Robin any stats to actually improve him as a unit. He doesn't even get to benefit from his own buffs, which would have been another way to improve it, basically making a joint tactic buff so that he could enjoy that +4 as well. In the A slot, we could of course take Triangle Adept to double down on those colorless and red units. He could also take Close Reversal or Attack Res Unity or any of the other ones. But we're going to go with Triangle Adept, since this build is already kind of forcing him into a niche where he takes on specific matchups. But he definitely could take like Attack Res Unity or something if he wants to have better all-around matchups. And then we have all these lovely breaker skills that he can choose from depending on the matchup. But he also has Null Sea Disrupt, which makes him very useful for the team in that he can bait out enemies with Dazzling Staff or similar skills and still be able to counterattack. Very useful for certain abyssal maps where they like to put a Dazzling Staff cavalry healer that covers a good chunk of the map. This lets Robin have a nice role where he can bait them out, take them out turn 1, and eliminate a lot of headache later on in the map. For his C slot, as always, any of these options work. We're going to go Joint Drive Def. Eventually, if he ever got Joint Distant Guard, that might be preferable, because that would especially help him bait out cavalry healers and so on, while also still having solid defense as well for enemies like archers and dagger units. But for now, we'll just go ahead and take Joint Drive Def. And finally, in the Seal slot, he can take any of the usual suspects: forms, bonds, stances, solos if he's off on his own, etc. But we also have other interesting options. We could take Mystic Boost for that sustain and for turning off the calculates damage from staff like other weapons. I think this I would prefer if I'm taking Unity in the A slot, since then he wouldn't be compounding that weapon triangle advantage against colorless. So being able to turn off the Wrathful effect might help his bulk a little bit more. Another option would be like Deflect Missile, which I actually do not have upgraded apparently. Oops. But that would be helpful for things like Brave Bow archers or maybe Ninja Lin. though I could imagine Ninja Lin just still tearing through him, honestly. I haven't run calculations on that, but that's another option we could definitely consider. So for now, we'll go ahead and stick with Mystic Boost for that sustain, but lots of different options for the seal in this particular case. Now is the time to test the practical application of these builds, starting with the Grandmaster set, and we are running the Avatar emblem alongside Robin, with our supportive New Year's Corrin, our Gale Force Byleth, and our Plaguean tank Chris. Alright, let's go ahead and run some tests. So off the bat, we have Tiki, who is going to be quite a hassle with her little savior skill there. Very annoying. And Aiden also has a savior skill, though I'm a little less worried about that. Tiki's the main issue since we are trying to do some damage with Robin here. New Year's Alphonse, always a threat as well. And then we got Roy. So I think we want to... he's not doing a ton to us. And his... well... So I think Robin is fine to tank Alphonse. So that might be what we start with. Okay. And yeah, let's pull him back and drop a rally attack speed to debuff Alphonse a little bit. And inflict guard on him. And then we'll just go ahead and pass. We'll let them attack into Robin. Alright, doing a good chunk to us, but we are enduring and then doubling back. Take him down, Robin. There you go. And that gets us around Tiki's with everyone a little bit. However, she is still quite a nuisance, but that's fine. I've got a plan for that. So we're going to just go ahead and move Chris there. We can debuff her, but we won't be able to get the full Plaguean effect due to everyone being so grouped together, but we'll still drop the guard on her to give us a little safety net. And Chris's lull is negating some of those buffs as well. So he's hanging in there, doubling back, chipping away at her. And there we go. And let's go ahead. We can hit up to 17, but that's still not amazing. I think we'll just pull Byleth back and wait again and let Tiki attack into Chris. Alright, she'll attack. We double and trigger Aether on the second hit. Ooh, almost took her out. There we go. So, we can actually do that. We're going to have Corrin shoot down Tiki. There we go. And Robin will move in and hit Roy. We weren't getting the full boost from Blue Flames since we didn't have an ally adjacent, but it still gave us enough to take out Roy. And now we can almost take out Aiden. If we drop a rally and reduce her def and res, now we have enough with Robin doubling and finishing her off. There we go. So that was a group effort, but we did manage to take them out without too much issue. So I'd call that a success. Next, we are testing the defensive tank build with the same team. We will be swapping that team out later, but for now we're going to roll with this one. So we've got Ashnard, Church, Cecilia, and Gwen. So I think Robin is in a decent position for a lot of this, though I don't think he wants to try and tank Shershi here with that Brave Axe and 61, that would be 67 attack if she is alone, so probably not the best idea for that. Let's go ahead and just break these. I guess if we... she does have high defense, but Robin and Corin together might be able to take her down if they can't take her down alone. We also have Byleth as a backup, so maybe not that much of a thing to worry about. Ground orders. Okay, we don't have to worry about that. And there's no flying orders or anything that would make her jump over. And her... Sudden panic. Okay, so I'm just gonna play it safe. We're going to rally Chris to drop those debuffs, and then we'll move Robin over here to bait out Ashnard, and we'll move Byleth over here as well. Alright, so he didn't get hit by sudden panic. Ashnard attacks and does 3 damage to Robin, and we will double back for 20. Alright, still in a pretty good position. And I think we'll just continue in that way and let him attack into us. First hit finishes up charging our Aether, and second hit comes down. And the cobwebs spin and drop his HP to 0. Alright. Alright, so we can't attack because Cecilia will swoop in and protect. So in that case, I think we want to move Robin over here, and we still don't want to move nearby or we'll get hit by sudden panic. So that's something to worry about. So we'll just do that and then pass. Keep them nearby for our joint drive defense. Cecilia attacks into Robin and is doing nothing. We're not doing stellar damage back though. And we do have to worry about her special going off, or she's running Blue Flame. Okay, we can actually do a good chunk, but we take damage as well. I think we'll just continue like this, playing a very passive game, letting them attack into us, and let her charge up Robin's Aether first. Now she'll hit back with the Blue Flame. Ooh. But Robin is enduring, and so I think one more round should... Ooh, wait. Sure, she is going to attack us. I didn't account for that. You'll never see it coming. Here comes the Aether. Heal himself up. I may have overlooked that, but fortunately Robin had a backup plan, ever prepared. He had the Aether ready to go to take her out and heal himself up. Now she is down, and now we don't have to worry as much because she's not going to be eating or dropping our buffs, but we do still have to worry about this a little. So we're just going to have Robin stand here He's actually performing pretty well as just a tank. This is actually going pretty nicely. Alright, so he'll take out Cecilia. Hit her once. She'll attack. And then we'll heal up with the Aether once again. There we go. And yeah, we could have Chris just finish it off, but we'll let Robin do this. Robin's got it. No one else is necessary for this plan. Robin will choke the point. And down Gwen goes. So that went very well. I was surprised he even managed to tank that double hit from Shershi despite the triangle disadvantage and her really high attack. So very impressed with that build, actually. That one went very well. Alright, Battle 3. We have our very gimmicky Magical Tudor build. We're going to try and let him charge up our infantry units, so Chris will not be benefiting from this, but Byleth will be able to theoretically get increased special charges and do magical damage, which will be funny. Corrin could also theoretically do that as well, but he is going to be playing more of a support role. So Corrin and Robin should be supporting Byleth for the most part, and then Chris will be helping move things around. But we'll see how this one turns out. All right, so actually kind of wish I had my tank set for this one. But let's go ahead and just move everyone like so. Okay. To start, we're going to send... what are we getting? Oh, Aversa. So we're going to rally, move up, and then pull everyone back so that Robin can bait out Aversa. Sibling fight! Sibling fight! Take her down, Robin. Zapped her right out of the sky. Alright, now we have to worry about Byleth, who is quite a nuisance here. And Sedith does have that lower res, so our magical damage should help against him. Now, the smart thing to do would definitely be to let Chris tank, but that's not what we want to do here. So I think we're going to have Robin move over here. Byleth is going to reposition him, and we'll go ahead and drop the rally to kind of help make up for the fact Sedith is going to be on the defense tile. And we'll leave Chris here so that he can potentially rush up and take out Byleth when she approaches. But Sedith is going to move down. Neither of us are able to double. So we got a speed tie going on, but we did do a good chunk to him despite the disadvantage. Oh, Robin can actually take out Byleth. That's amazing. Actually, Robin, get in there and take her down. Full power blue flame, go! And she goes down, and we could have Corrin take down Sedith, but we'll have Byleth do it so that we can charge our special. Actually, I guess we didn't really need it. I kind of forgot for a second that we don't have Aether up. I was going to use Aether to take down Innis, but that's fine. That's fine. We're in a good position still. All right, he moves down, and Robin cannot take out Innis, but Byleth can. Corrin can not, and Chris can almost do it. Let's pull Robin up, and oh, we actually do less damage now because we're losing the solo, and he has slightly higher res. That's funny. It doesn't matter, but it's funny. So we drop the ruse, and Byleth takes out Innis. So yeah, that was very gimmicky. I kind of didn't really expect much from that build, But we did take advantage of that to charge our special faster against Sedith and hit his weaker res. It just didn't end up mattering that much because Innis wasn't in range for us to take him out on the second hit with the Gale Force. But surprisingly, Robin was actually not totally dead weight on his own. He was still able to bait out Aversa and then take down Byleth. He did have his Blue Flame charged, but that's what I meant when I said that Blue Flame would give him access to more consistent damage. It did help him against a unit that I think he would normally struggle with. So I'm actually kind of impressed that the gimmick build still held up, even though the gimmick wasn't totally pivotal to our success. Finally, we are going to test the fourth build, our Scale Tipper anti-colorless setup with Null Sea Disrupt. So we're actually probably going to hunt for a healer lead so that we can actually test how good he is at baiting out healers. And since we are running the Tactical Bolt, we have swapped in Best Daughter Morgan so that we can actually take advantage of that tactics buff. And likewise, she will be providing some support as well with her Father's Tactics and her Rain skill. Father's Tactics is unfortunately not actually equipable by the Father, which is unfortunate. I think it would make him a slightly better unit if he could equip that, but alas. And then Corin and Chris are just running the same sets from earlier. So we will go hunt down a healer lead and see how Robin does. All right, it has taken quite a while, but we have finally found a match. And we're going to have Robin try and take on this Aramea. And also, he should have at least a decent matchup against Norn and Male Morgan over here. We could have the babies fight, but we'll have Robin try and ground him, I suppose, would be the more fitting solution here. But we'll definitely need help with Hannah, because Robin probably wouldn't do much to her anyway, and definitely won't do anything with Triangle Adept. So, to start, we are going to have Chris go ahead and reposition us up. I guess we can't really reach turn 1, so we'll just move everyone over and pass. Okay. There we go. So we can't take her out, but we can drop the rally. Still no. Nope. So we'll just go ahead and move him up one space. We could sit on the defense tile, but I'd prefer not to use those because it does feel a little cheating. But we'll go ahead and pass. Let Aramea attack into us. She is very fast, I guess, because we are not doubling back, but we do almost take her out. And now we'll finish her off. Charge up our special. There we go. And now we we can have Morgan come up and rally, but the rally speed will not actually go into effect here because of Norn's lull skill. So that's something to keep in mind. Joint drive attack is also something to bear in mind. But we'll drop a rally and then another rally. So she has some debuffs, and we have our boosts on Robin, and then we'll pass. Robin definitely needs the help more than some other units, so we'll let him see about tanking Norn. Yeah, he's actually tanking her very well. Here comes the boosted Blue Flame. Down she goes. All right, so next we are going to have him... Ooh, yeah, we can come over here, drop the rally. We'll go ahead and toss Robin over, and we'll drop our ruse on Morgan. And he's going to come over and attack us. We are getting a lot of debuffs, and he's going to double us, but we are hanging in there thanks to our Triangle Adept. And we also would probably be in a good position if we had stuck with Attack Res Unity, but wanted to mix it up a little with Triangle Adept, and it does help us with the Tactical Bolt base effect. So we'll have Robin go ahead and drop Morgan. You are grounded, mister. Zap. Go to your room. Alright, and now all that's left is Hannah, who is admittedly a bit of an issue, but we'll go ahead and rally Chris. Well, I guess he didn't really need it completely because he was getting some buffs from Robin. That's still improving his def and his res, not that it's mattering in this case. But we still drop the rally to drop the ruse on Hannah, and we will send Chris up, and Morgan is also nearby to support with her tactics. Wish I could pull Robin closer for the joint drive defense, but that's fine. We will pass like so. Let Hannah attack into Chris, and Chris has got this. Double back, give back our axe, and we win. That was actually really good. I didn't expect that to go quite as well. We happened to get lucky there in that there were 2 colorless and a red for Robin to bounce off of. And again, that set is definitely more of a pick based off of the map type of build, where he wants to run like a breaker or null sea disrupt depending on what enemies are on the map. So bringing him into a situation like this where we can't see who we're fighting in advance does put him at a bit of a disadvantage, but he did pull through just fine, I think. So that is Robin, our top tier tactician. And I kind of gave him that name jokingly because I didn't really expect him to perform well. But he surprised me. These builds, maybe not the best builds by any means, but for a Gen 1 unit, I was pleasantly surprised. Honestly, way back a year and a half ago when I announced that I was going to build him, I was very excited, and then he took so long and the meta kept marching forward as it does, and I kind of started to dread the fact that I was investing all these resources into this unit that I was sure was going to end up really bad. I mean, he didn't even have a amazing pref refine on the horizon to save him. He already got his refine and it was underwhelming. So my enthusiasm for him waned over time. Yet when it finally came time to build him, he ended up surpassing my expectations, and he ended up being a lot of fun. I really enjoyed building this, actually. The high deliverer really actually delivered. And again, these aren't the most mind-blowing builds. They're not going to suddenly elevate him to the face of the meta or anything, but they salvage him pretty nicely, and he does have some nice little builds that he can run for various scenarios. I think I was most impressed with this one, the full defense stacking one, particularly because Morgan stacks her res, so they make a nice contrast with each other. But all of these were really fun, actually. I even enjoyed this gimmick build that I really didn't have any expectations for. This one was also kind of fun, though, again, it's very situational. You choose which skills you take depending on what units you need to counter specifically. So it doesn't work as well in a scenario like this, where we just kind of go in blind and hope that we get a ton of units that we can take on. But he actually did deliver in that regard. And this general set even ended up doing pretty well. So overall, very impressed and very pleased with him. Surprisingly, he ended up being worth the investment, and I'm very happy about that. Again, there were a lot of other infantry blue mages I could have picked from who probably would have gotten better results, but you know, Robin is still a very special character to me, so it's fantastic to see him finally join the Angel Army in all his tactical glory. Hopefully this was worth the long wait. I know this has been a project that has been being teased for quite some time, and I hope you had fun with it. Finally, I want to give a quick thank you to my friend Arowana, who went ahead and helped me with the background and some of the design choices on this one, since I was a little stumped on how I wanted this video to look. So thank you once again to them. And yeah, now I guess we need to decide where the Angel Army goes from here. But thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. Until next time, this is Hoodie Angel Brandon, Robin, and the Angel Army signing out. The scales have been tipped.